Okay, I've made a couple of videos today that are pretty heavy about what ICE is doing. That's always hard stuff for us to bear witness to. That's always hard stuff for us to sit with. It's traumatic. It's traumatic even if you are not having your body brutalized, even if your rights are not being violated. Everybody in the United States who is aware of what is going on and is willing to bear witness is being traumatized on a daily basis. Yeah, it's not all at the same level. Some of us are far more protected than others, but we are experiencing a collective societal trauma, and it's important that we acknowledge that. It's also important that we don't let that trauma paralyze us, that we don't let that trauma demoralize us, that we don't let that trauma cause us to sink into ourselves. We've got to balance those hard truths about the terrible thing that the regime wants to do with calls to action, with education, with skill building, with mutual aid, with solidarity, with building our movement. Because it is a race, us versus them. And damn, y'all, I don't know how you feel after Election Day this week, but it feels like we've really jumped ahead. It feels like we're cooking now, right? We've set the pace, we're in our zone, and we're booking it. We're booking it. So we need to keep building that power. We need to keep coming together. We need to keep building those skills and taking action. Yep, elections, great, fantastic. Electoralism alone will not save us. Voting alone will not save us. It is a key component, but it really is this multi-pronged fight. It really takes a diversity of tactics to stop a fascist regime. We gotta have all hands on deck, and we have to come at it from all angles. So in that spirit, I want to show you a video that may seem completely unrelated to the topic of saving democracy in the United States, but I promise you that it is. So hang in there with me. I promise you I have a point to make.
Stop. 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 Integrity. Pitato. Stop.
You have all my respect. I truly love Thailand. I respect all of you. I think that you're amazing people. But what just your director did is not respectful. He called me dumb because he had problems with the organization. And I think that's not fair because I'm here and I do everything okay. I don't mess with anyone. I just try to be kind. I'm trying to give my best. And he just shot me and he just said to me and shut up and a lot of different things. And I think that the world needs to see this because we are empowered women and this is a platform for our voice. And no one can shut our voice. And no one will do that to me. And I hope that everyone at home, every woman, doesn't matter if you have a big dream, if you have a crown, if that's take away your dignity, you need to go. Thank you.
So this week, as contestants are gathering in Thailand for the Miss Universe pageant, they all have kind of like pre-events that happen before the actual competition. The director of Miss Universe Thailand is a wealthy Thai businessman. And they have this event that happened before the actual competition. Hang on, y'all, the storm's rolling in. Let me turn on a light. Whew, okay, that's better. So according to both People Magazine and Today.com, not sources that I normally use, but this is kind of like celebrity beauty pageant news, so these are appropriate sources. This wealthy Thai businessman, he was criticizing Miss Mexico and Mexico's Miss Universe organization and its director. He told Miss Mexico, if you follow the order from your national director, you are dumb. He continued to criticize her and criticize her country. The video, which was streamed live on Facebook, shows Miss Bosch from Mexico speaking calmly throughout the interaction, much like you heard in her interview here afterward. The Thai businessman, Nawat Itsaragrasil, forgive me if I'm pronouncing that wrong, became more and more upset. The exchange continued to be heated. Miss Bosch said that the host was not respecting her as a woman. I believe, as she said, he told her to shut up at one point. And the Thai businessman called security to have her removed. The other women in the room, as you could see there at the beginning, they were clearly very uncomfortable, and he told them all, just stay there, don't go. But several other contestants got up and followed Bosch out in solidarity, even though he's saying, sit down. Victoria Thielvig of Denmark, who took home the title of Miss Universe in 2024, walked out with several of her fellow contestants in support of Miss Bosch. This is about women's rights, she said. I don't know, I was watching this whole interaction and I was thinking about that town hall earlier this year in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, where a woman was dragged out by private security that all not only lost their jobs, but they ended up being charged. And at the time, I made a whole video on the bystander effect because I was a little bit horrified, and lots of other people on social media were horrified. Like, why did nobody stand up and defend this woman as she's being dragged out by these men when she had every right to be in this town hall? And the police chief or sheriff that was running the town hall like had longstanding beef with her, and he was cheering on these private security that were violating this woman's rights. Loads of people were like, "What? Why didn't anybody help her?" And I was like, "Oh, well, that's a little bit the bystander effect." People are afraid to be the first one to stand up and encourage. People are afraid to be the first one to speak out. We very much, even in the United States, where we think that we all are like individuals and we want to buck the system. No, we are all very conditioned to go along. Think about our educations in the public school system and how much conformity, following rules, not making waves, not speaking out of turn was drilled into you for 12 years. It's very hard to be the first person. We all are waiting for somebody else to stand up and do something. So unlike that town hall where I believe the woman's name was Teresa, was dragged out of there and a couple people said something, and good that people were recording. But here we saw so many women stand up in solidarity and walk out. Now, of course, they weren't going to be arrested, but they didn't know what kind of consequences they were going to face. And I want to give you like the conclusion to this story because I think herein is something really important. This Thai businessman was forced to apologize, right? Let's say that just Miss Mexico had been escorted out and all of the other women had listened to him when he said, stay seated, and they'd just gone along with it. She would have been all by herself, and maybe it wouldn't have quite made the news in the same way. Maybe it wouldn't have had the same impact, but our power comes from our collective action. Right, these women said that this was a women's rights issue. Look at the women's rights movement in this country. It is our collective power when we come together. That's how we get the results that we need. We are in solidarity with each other. We don't abandon any one person who's being targeted by this regime. We don't abandon any one group who is being targeted by this regime. I am so proud of folks in Chicago, in Evanston, Illinois, in Portland, Oregon, in LA, in DC, in Colorado, who are standing up for immigrants that are being targeted by Donald Trump and ICE. Who keeps us safe? We keep us safe. We don't abandon each other. We must stand in solidarity with each other, even if it means taking on some measure of personal risk. Maybe those women could have gotten kicked out of Miss Universe. Maybe there could have been greater repercussions for them. They took a risk. They didn't know what would happen, but they were like, oh no, we're not going to let our sister get pushed out of here all on her own. It actually also honestly reminded me early in the year. Remember when Al Green was removed during Donald Trump's State of the Union? And I was like, why didn't every other Democrat in that chamber stand up and walk out with him? Maybe they would now. Maybe they would this far into the year, but they were so hesitant back then. Al wasn't hesitant, but the rest of them were incredibly hesitant. And we have to be brave. We have to risk it for a biscuit. We have to risk it for each other. Because when we are all willing to step out and take on a little bit of risk for ourselves, right? We all absorb some measure of risk. That's how we actually keep ourselves safe. That's how we actually protect each other and ourselves at the same time, is that we have a willingness. We have a willingness to step out. Right, so for me, this was not at all about the Miss Universe pageant. This was about what we can do when we stand together, the results that we can get. This dude had to apologize, and he had to make right after. Because one, Miss Mexico was not willing to be disrespected. She was not willing to just sit there and take it when he was insulting her and her organization, when he was calling her dumb and telling her to shut up. She was like, no, I will respect myself. I will stand up for what I know is right. And she trusted the women around her to have her back, and they did. That's what we all need to do for each other right now. We stand up for our rights. We stand up in solidarity with each other. We all take on a small measure of risk, and together we wield our power collectively.